The story of Elijah and the prophets of Baal. In the ancient kingdom of Israel, during the reign of King Ahab and Queen Jezebel, the worship of the pagan god Baal had spread throughout the land. The people of Israel, once devoted to the Lord, were now divided in their allegiance. Elijah, a prophet of the true God, stood as a lone voice of faithfulness amidst a sea of idolatry. King Ahab, influenced by the wicked Queen Jezebel, had led Israel astray, building altars to Baal and persecuting the prophets of the Lord. But God sent Elijah with a message to confront Ahab and call the people back to true worship. Elijah boldly approached Ahab and declared, "As the Lord, the God of Israel, lives, whom I serve, there will be neither dew nor rain in the next few years except at my word." A severe drought struck the land, a direct consequence of Israel's unfaithfulness. 3 years passed, and the drought persisted. The Lord then spoke to Elijah, instructing him to present himself to Ahab. Elijah obeyed, and when he met the king, Ahab greeted him with hostility. "Is that you, you troubler of Israel?" Ahab accused, but Elijah responded fearlessly, "I have not made trouble for Israel, but you and your father's family have. You have abandoned the Lord's commands and have followed the Baals. Now summon the people from all over Israel to meet me on Mount Carmel, and bring the 450 prophets of Baal and the 400 prophets of Asherah who eat at Jezebel's table." Ahab agreed, and the people gathered at Mount Carmel, along with the prophets of Baal and Asherah. Elijah stood before the assembly and challenged them. "How long will you waver between two opinions? If the Lord is God, follow him. But if Baal is God, follow him." The people remained silent, unsure of where their loyalties lay. Elijah proposed a test to demonstrate the true God. "Get 2 bulls for us. Let Baal's prophets choose one for themselves, and let them cut it into pieces and put it on the wood, but not set fire to it. I will prepare the other bull and put it on the wood, but not set fire to it. Then you call on the name of your God, and I will call on the name of the Lord. The God who answers by fire, he is God." The people agreed to the test. The prophets of Baal prepared their bull and called on Baal from morning till noon. They shouted, danced, and even slashed themselves with swords and spears, as was their custom, but there was no response. No one answered. No one paid attention. At noon, Elijah began to taunt them. "Shout louder," he said. "Surely he is a god. Perhaps he is deep in thought, or busy, or traveling. Maybe he is sleeping and must be awakened." The prophets of Baal shouted louder and continued their frantic prophesying until the time for the evening sacrifice, but still, there was no response. Then Elijah called the people to him. He repaired the altar of the Lord, which had been torn down, and took 12 stones, one for each of the tribes descended from Jacob. With the stones, he built an altar in the name of the Lord and dug a trench around it. He arranged the wood, cut the bull into pieces, and laid it on the wood. Then he instructed the people to fill 4 large jars with water and pour it on the offering and the wood. They did so, and Elijah had them repeat this 3 times until the water ran down around the altar and filled the trench. At the time of sacrifice, Elijah stepped forward and prayed, "Lord, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, let it be known today that you are God in Israel and that I am your servant and have done all these things at your command. Answer me, Lord, answer me. So these people will know that you, Lord, are God, and that you are turning their hearts back again." Then the fire of the Lord fell and burned up the sacrifice, the wood, the stones, and the soil, and also licked up the water in the trench. When the people saw this, they fell prostrate and cried, "The Lord, he is God. The Lord, he is God." Elijah commanded them to seize the prophets of Baal. The people captured them, and Elijah had them brought down to the Kishon Valley, where they were put to death. The victory was a powerful demonstration of the true God's supremacy and a call for Israel to return to faithful worship. Elijah then told Ahab to go eat and drink, for there was the sound of a heavy rain. Elijah climbed to the top of Carmel, bent down to the ground, and put his face between his knees. He sent his servant to look toward the sea. 7 times the servant went and returned, reporting no sign of rain. On the 7th time, he reported, "A cloud as small as a man's hand is rising from the sea." Elijah instructed his servant to tell Ahab to hitch up his chariot and go down before the rain stopped him. Meanwhile, the sky grew black with clouds, the wind rose, and a heavy rain began to fall. Ahab rode off to Jezreel, and the power of the Lord came on Elijah. Tucking his cloak into his belt, he ran ahead of Ahab all the way to Jezreel. This story of Elijah's confrontation with the prophets of Baal is a powerful testament to the unwavering faith in God, the courage to stand against falsehood, and the miraculous demonstration of God's power. It is a call to faithfulness and a reminder of God's willingness to show His might to those who seek Him with all their hearts.